an explosion in Ankara, the capital.
Context of this just remarkable attack. Andrea, good morning.
Through the years, the so-called jihadist groups
People are dead after a horrific bomb attack.
Tonight, months of escalating tensions between Israelis and Palestinians.
Welcome to today's episode, where we're diving deep into the enigma that is terrorism. You've seen the headlines, you've heard the debates, but do you really understand what's behind it all? Let's peel back the layers and explore the complexities of terrorism. Stay until the end of the video to see the list of the main terrorist groups of the modern era and additionally a terrorist fact in the Roman Empire. So, where did the term terrorism originate? Would you be surprised to learn that it dates back to the French Revolution? Indeed, the term was first used to describe the actions of the French government during the Reign of Terror from 1793 to 1794. But how has this term evolved? Today, the United Nations struggles to define terrorism universally, but most definitions include elements like violence, intimidation, and political or ideological motives. The FBI, for instance, defines domestic terrorism as violent, criminal acts committed by individuals and or groups to further ideological goals stemming from domestic influences. How has the term terrorism changed over time? In the 1970s, it was often linked to left-wing political groups like the Red Brigades in Italy. Today, it's more commonly associated with religious extremism, particularly groups like ISIS and Al-Qaeda. The term is fluid, adapting to the geopolitical landscape. How do nations tackle this complex issue? It's not just about military might. Counterterrorism strategies often encompass four key areas: military, legislative, financial, and ideological. For example, the U.S. has spent an estimated $6.4 trillion on counterterrorism efforts since 9/11. Legislation like the USA Patriot Act has expanded surveillance capabilities, while financial sanctions have targeted terrorist funding. Ideological efforts, such as counter-radicalization programs, aim to prevent the spread of extremist beliefs. What does the world think? Before we move on, if you're finding this content valuable, please hit that subscribe button and give us a like. Your support allows us to delve into intricate topics like this one. According to a Pew Research Center survey conducted in 2019, about 62% of Americans said they were very concerned about Islamic extremism. This concern has been a constant since the 9/11 attacks, shaping U.S. foreign and domestic policy. In Europe, the numbers vary by country. A 2017 Pew Research study found that 79% of people in Hungary, 74% in Italy, and 71% in Poland were concerned about Islamic extremism. However, in countries like Germany and France, the numbers were lower, at 61% and 59% respectively. In the Middle East and North Africa, the perspective shifts dramatically. According to a 2019 Arab Barometer survey, only 8% of Tunisians and 14% of Jordanians considered the fight against terrorism their government's top priority. This suggests that in some regions, other issues like economic stability may take precedence over concerns about terrorism. In Asia, the sentiment varies widely. According to the same 2019 Pew Research study, only 20% of Indonesians were very concerned about Islamic extremism, despite Indonesia having the largest Muslim population in the world. In contrast, 66% of Filipinos expressed high levels of concern, likely influenced by the presence of extremist groups in the southern part of the country. In Africa, terrorism is a pressing concern in countries like Nigeria, where groups like Boko Haram have had a devastating impact. According to a 2018 Afrobarometer survey, 58% of Nigerians identified terrorism as a problem that the government should address. A list of terrorist groups. Over the years, numerous terrorist groups have emerged. Each of them has its own ideology, methods, and impact, making terrorism a multifaceted issue. Here, some of these groups will be mentioned, starting with those that are currently in the news. Hamas, the resistance movement. Founded in 1987, Hamas aims to establish an Islamic State in Palestine. Hamas leaders often use religious rhetoric to justify their actions, framing their struggle as a holy war. The group has had a significant impact on Israeli-Palestinian relations and has been a key player in various conflicts, including the Gaza wars. Methods: suicide bombings, rocket attacks, and kidnappings. Hezbollah, the Party of God. Founded in 1982, Hezbollah is a Shiite Muslim political and military organization. The group often frames its actions as resistance against Israeli and Western imperialism. Hezbollah has grown into a powerful political entity in Lebanon and has been involved in conflicts beyond, including the Syrian civil war. Allegedly receiving support from Iran. Methods: guerrilla warfare, bombings, and rocket attacks. Al-Qaeda, the base. Founded in 1988, Al-Qaeda aims to establish a global Islamic caliphate. The group uses jihadist rhetoric, calling for holy war against the West. Responsible for the 9/11 attacks, Al-Qaeda has spawned numerous affiliates worldwide. Methods: suicide bombings, airplane hijackings, and mass shootings. ISIS, the Caliphate Dream. An offshoot of Al-Qaeda, ISIS aims to establish a global Islamic State. The group uses apocalyptic rhetoric and calls for a final battle against non-believers. At its peak, ISIS controlled vast territories in Iraq and Syria. Methods: beheadings, mass killings, and territorial conquest. Tamil Tigers, the ethnic struggle. Founded in 1976, the Tamil Tigers sought an independent Tamil state in Sri Lanka. The group framed its struggle as an ethnic and nationalist fight against Sinhalese oppression. The group was involved in a protracted civil war in Sri Lanka until its defeat in 2009. Methods: suicide bombings, assassinations, and guerrilla warfare. FARC, the Revolutionary Army. Founded in 1964, FARC aimed to establish a Marxist-Leninist state in Colombia. The group used anti-imperialist and socialist rhetoric. FARC was a major player in the Colombian conflict, but has since demobilized following a peace agreement. Methods: kidnappings, bombings, and drug trafficking. PKK, the Kurdish question. Founded in 1978, the PKK seeks autonomy for Kurds in Turkey. The group uses nationalist rhetoric centered on Kurdish identity. The PKK has been involved in a long-running conflict with the Turkish state. Methods: guerrilla warfare, bombings, and suicide attacks. Boko Haram, the Western education is forbidden. Founded in 2002, Boko Haram aims to establish an Islamic State in Nigeria. The group opposes Western education and calls for Sharia law. The group has caused widespread devastation in northeastern Nigeria. Methods: mass kidnappings, bombings, and village raids. ETA, Basque Homeland and Liberty. Founded in 1959, ETA sought an independent Basque state. The group used nationalist rhetoric focused on Basque identity. ETA was involved in a prolonged conflict with the Spanish state but has since disbanded. Methods: car bombings, assassinations, and kidnappings. Shining Path, the Maoist insurgency. Founded in 1980, Shining Path aimed to establish a communist state in Peru. The group used Maoist and Marxist-Leninist rhetoric. The group was involved in a violent conflict with the Peruvian state. Methods: mass killings, bombings, and forced recruitments. Aum Shinrikyo, the Supreme Truth. Founded in 1984, Aum Shinrikyo aimed to overthrow the Japanese government and bring about Armageddon. The group combined elements of Buddhism, Hinduism, and apocalyptic prophecies. The group shocked Japan and the world with its deadly attacks. The attack killed 13 people and injured over 50, with around 1,000 others suffering from temporary vision problems. Methods: chemical attacks, including the Tokyo subway sarin attack. Irish Republican Army, IRA. The Fight for Ireland. Founded in 1917, the IRA sought an independent Irish state. The group used nationalist rhetoric focused on Irish identity and liberation. The IRA was a key player in the Northern Ireland conflict, also known as the Troubles. Methods: bombings, assassinations, and kidnappings. To think about. Did you know that the Global Terrorism Index reported a 59% decrease in terrorism-related deaths since 2014? Or that Iraq has been the most impacted country over the last decade? These facts highlight the evolving nature of terrorism and its global impact. Would you believe that the Zealots, a Jewish political movement in the 1st century CE, are often considered one of the earliest terrorist organizations? They used assassination and other violent means to resist Roman rule in Judea. Terrorism is a complex, multidimensional issue that defies easy explanation. It's not just about the acts that make headlines, it's about understanding the underlying causes, the ideologies, and the global impact. If this episode has given you new insights, please subscribe and hit the like button. Your support enables us to tackle more nuanced topics and present them in a comprehensive format. Until next time, stay curious and stay informed.